Hey, and welcome back to another video from John De Silva Photography. I am here, well, as you can see, this is very unique, very unusual, but it's one of my places. It's one of my jams. I love science. I love space, anything to do with astronomy. This video is not about that. It is about a great destination that I just went to and photographed. So I'm going to run through those photographs, going to talk about them, give you some tips and tricks on how to make these photographs, apply it to this location or any place that you go to. So watch the video. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll be back in a moment. Today's review comes from a place in Cambodia called Senmonorom or Mondulkiri, and it is a location where you can immerse yourself around Asian elephants. The first image I'm going to review is an elephant in the jungle. For those of you who may not be familiar with rule of thirds, there are two lines that go from top to bottom in this portrait orientation image. And then you've got two lines also going across from side to side, left side to right side. And at the point where these lines intersect is where you generally place your subject. Now, this is a rule. It's called, of course, the rule of thirds, but rules are made to be broken. I don't always use the rule of thirds. Sometimes, according to the rule of thirds, you really shouldn't put the subject smack dab in the middle of your composition, but I do that sometimes. Many other photographers do that. It is your choice what you like to do, what you think looks best, what you're trying to convey, what emotion you're trying to evoke, all these things that fall into consideration. But for this one, I thought the cool greens and the warm tan browns of the elephant played well. The little shadow area where putting the head of the elephant in the upper left quadrant of the composition. And the second one, of course, is getting a little creative, putting a flower in the foreground and letting the elephant in the background go soft. And of course, this is shot in a portrait orientation to be able to pull that off. Of course, the landscape orientation would have been a bit more difficult considering the subject matter. The third picture of an elephant here is this one was taking a mud bath and of course timing it, getting a fast shutter, composing it the way you wanted it to be, and waiting until that mud gets up in the air and out of the trunk to make your exposure. Learning, watching the elephant behave when it had its trunk down and being ready, having my camera up in my face, composed, ready to go, having a fast shutter speed to freeze that water coming out of the trunk before it hits the elephant on the back. Of course, this is landscape because the elephant itself is more from left to right than it is from top to bottom. It's longer than it is taller. So that was the choice there for composition. Now, again, the next image, going back to portrait, this log with the really cool, almost looks externally lit mushrooms growing on it, just appealed to me. I didn't do it, I didn't move to the side of it so I could photograph it landscape orientation from left to right, more information from left to right. This is from top to bottom. I thought it was better to go have the information start at the bottom and go up, and that's what I chose, and it's got a little bit of green leaves in there. Again, choice of composition is very important. The next image shows a local home along the trail. It was all by itself. It's got a little temple out there. I wasn't able to see inside, but as you can tell from the outside of the construction, at least 50% of the house is outside. There's a hammock there. There's some items on that deck, for lack of a better word. Of course, it's on stilts. I think that's probably to keep the house cool, but I thought that was pretty cool and a little bit revealing of how the locals live. And speaking of how the locals live, you're going to see some images of their local market. This, of course, is a larger shot of fruits, vegetables, eggs, just a little bit of everything. Very, very interesting market that they have in here. And off to the right, you just see a little hint of a person sitting down there and I guess preparing their vegetables to sell. And the next image is a whole bunch of little squid. There is a river nearby, so obviously these come from the river. There is no ocean nearby, so nothing is long hauled here. It's all local produce. You look at the next image and you got some chicken feet cooking on the grill with some kind of sauce. Yum yum. Not judging, just being enamored and interested and curious about the local way of life. And I've seen this in other places. Chicken feet on the grill. Now, this next image I found very interesting. The lady making these little, look like pastry, maybe puffy things, and with the fire in her hand and the spoon, I thought it was an excellent portrait composition. I waited and worked this for quite a while, took several different photographs, but spent a good amount of time just waiting for the right thing to happen for me to photograph. Another image from the market, just chopped coconut, the cleaver laying there with the bits, I just thought was excellent and told a story about the local market. And the next image, a man at his store, his little roadside store, a lady customer getting something, and the Phnom Penh mile marker there, or kilometer marker. I thought it was really interesting and had a bunch of information in there. Of course, he's wearing a mask and looking over his shoulder, engaging me, which I thought was perfect timing. The baby, the little baby in the next image, I thought the lighting was very well lit. I loved it. It was stood out from the background and its surroundings. It wasn't engaging me at the moment I made this photograph, and I again thought it was really nice. And it's showing what the locals use mostly for their transportation. A lot of motorcycles, some cars, but mostly motorcycles. Next image is another kid just playing with bubbles. You see it everywhere. They were out there in the streets having fun, and I was trying to be not announce to everyone in the world that I was making photographs. She did notice me, and at the last minute pulled her eyes towards me, which was fantastic. I love that connection. When I make a photograph, I like the candids when they don't know I'm photographing, because they are really themselves. But this time she took a glance at me right when she was blowing bubbles, and I thought, fantastic. And now the last image is the same girl down there in the lower corner. She was, as I said, there was kids playing out in the street, and they were all playing. I think they were all from the same family. As you can see, the orientation is tilted. I put the older girl's head up in the upper corner, and this was the best way I could get all three of their faces in the composition from where I was standing without moving, and wanted to get it quickly. And I thought it was fantastic. Plus, the comedy, the funny part with the little boy with his finger up his nose, you can't beat that. So anyway, those are my pictures from Senmonorom, or Mondulkiri. I will wrap up the video in a moment. Well, that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful. Don't forget, if you like any of the images that you see, they are available. Also, if you need some photographic services, I'm also available for that as well, whether it's a wedding, events, portraiture. I'm available for those type of things. Keep making great photographs. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.